So let's start with the movie you caught today, Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan. Let's
Michael
hear your
B.
thoughts.
Jordan. Without Remorse. Lit. It was lit. A lot of action. Little war movie. You know, Tom Clancy. You already know what you're getting. Trying to get up out of this fucking light. I got Tom Clancy. You know what you're getting when you're involved with it. But I thought it had a pretty good story set up. Like I was telling you beforehand, I got swerved pretty hard in it. With the characters, really sets it up. Fairly good.
Yep.
A little tension between Russia, United States. I did have to laugh. My one thought I do have of the movie is like, you know, they make the point, you know, of like all these attacks on each other's soils trying to bring, you know, oh, they're just pawns playing the game, you know, America and Russia sitting in their offices making us come do their killing. You know, there's like a scene where Michael B. Jordan kind of hits that Falcon, or not Falcon, but John Walker note where he's like, you know, this is what the country made me, and they made me into this and this and that. But it's like the overall theme of the movie still happens to be United States versus Russia here, guys. So like you're still pushing some sort of propaganda because why we got to choose Russia? You know, that's the thought I was getting at is like what they're bitching about in the movie about America and Russia, and America always needs a bad guy so they can stop hating each other and hate somebody else. But it's like, but yet you're choosing Russia in the movie, which could come across as the same fucking point.
Yeah.
But besides all that, I thought it was pretty lit. It was enjoyable. I don't usually watch that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I said I wrote down bullshit, funny stuff while I was watching it. You know, how that van be there, untouchable in the alleyway, and they just fuck on off. You know, like get out of here, bro. Some of it, you know, it's Tom Clancy. It doesn't make more. It's more about the conspiracy than it is about reality.
Classic Tom Clancy.
Mm-hmm.
Clancy.
Yeah. Definitely hints at a bigger universe, a bigger Amazon Tom Clancy universe.
The Amazon Clancy verse. It's on the horizon.
Claniverse.
Yikes. That's a whole other fucking thing.
Yeah, I guess that could yeah.
Which, you know, actually, great segue. Because while I still have this poster over here, I finished this. I finished them. I gotta say, if you're a horror fan, check it out, man. It's top-notch horror. And I'd love to talk to somebody about the ending of this show because I don't know how I felt about it. I don't know how I felt about that last episode. There was some crazy shit, but I don't know how I felt about the way it all wrapped up. You know, it happens sometimes. You know, sometimes you get to the end and it's just kind of meh. You know.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
This is what it is. But I'm gonna have to check out this Without Remorse later tonight. See how I feel about it.
It's legit. I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, the action scenes were top notch. Kind of gets into the story, you know, big. I felt like there was moments where I was like, damn, and I was feeling for Michael B. Jordan's character, but I was like, I feel like that's only because of my actual life. You know what I'm saying and shit. Like when his, you know, wife and unborn kid get gunned down and shit. You know, like, and he wakes up. And, you know, it's pretty quick into the movie that happens. And, you know, he wakes up and asks his buddies, like, my baby? And, you know, his buddy's like, nah. And he's like, you can tell he's in some pain, but it's like, that hits emotionally for me because I got a kid. But I was like, if I didn't have a kid, I don't think there's enough story set up that I'm like, okay, you know, cool. Okay, let's get into the movie. I guess I could see where he's coming from, you know.
Right.
You wouldn't be like as emotionally, like, I was like, damn, all right, I get it where this motherfucker's like, all adamant on I'm gonna make him say I'm gonna find that guy that killed my family and I'm gonna make him say my wife's name before I kill him. And it's like
one thing I did hear about this movie. Curious to hear what you think. I heard it almost kind of feels like a B movie. Like at times it feels kind of cheap. Like they didn't really shell out on the budget sometimes. And when I caught part of the trailer earlier, I kind of picked up on those vibes a little bit from like the way it looked. But what do you think? You saw it. So,
I think they probably more so made this movie around not having too much. You know what I'm saying? Because I could see that. There's certain times where like, somebody will throw a bomb and a bomb goes off. And
mhm,
it's not like you see like motherfucker body parts flying around. You just see kind of people like walking around and then fall over and stuff like that. But
right.
it's like I think it still works for it. It didn't take me out of the movie any when I was in watching it. There was nothing too noticeable besides, like I said, the only thing I that stuck out at the beginning of the movie was when they're at a party and his wife said, and he asked her, "You want some water to drink?" And she's like, "I'd like a glass of wine." And they're laughing. And then she's like, "Nah, for real though, I'll take a sweet tea." And then when you find him with the drinks in hand, he just has two waters and gives her water and she takes it. And it's like, all right, now either y'all fucked up shooting this or he just was like, "You're getting the water."
Right. It could just be right. Yeah. Right.
But no, like I said, I think it vibed well with the movie, and they did have some good scenes with shit. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it took away from anything for me.
Yeah.
There's some real dope shit within this movie. I think there's
Well,
some crazy shit that you're like, dang, oh, okay then, like, all right then.
yeah,
So it's
definitely.
worth checking out. I think if I gave this one, I give it a 7, maybe 7.5 because it had potential. It could always have
Gotta
the
give that
potential.
25 for the potential, man.
And if something bigger comes out of this, then that is the potential. Maybe
Right. Right.
some cool shit. Tom Clancy's got a lot of good shit out there. So if they want a big universe that's like connected and shit, they got a lot of people to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I am curious to see how I feel about this because, like, if it is going to tie in with like the Jack Ryan stuff and everything, I had a hard time getting into Jack Ryan. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll probably watch it later tonight.
I just, I mean, like, I just thought, like, because we talked about the scene where they kind of, beforehand, where they kind of build it up. I
Right.
thought that seemed a little cheesy
Yeah.
in the grand aspect of the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that seemed a little. They made this movie and was like, "Damn, all right, this movie's pretty lit. Hey, we could do this," and they're like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
Let's do
Just like Marvel did.
it.
'Cause that's like
Everybody
obviously
coattails.
where we're at now. That's the vibe I got from it.
Definitely.
But I'm down to see where they go with it.
Word.
I'll be there.
Without remorse. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to talk to my grandpa and tell him to check that one out. Maybe he'll like that. I'll be like, "It's a Tom Clancy movie, Grandpa."
I was gonna say that's the demographic.
Mm,
That's the demographic, man.
Tom
Uh,
Clancy.
well, I didn't get around to that one, but I watched a movie today. Also came out today, The Mitchells versus the Machines. Um, this was supposed to come out in theaters last year. It's from the creators of the Lego Movie and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and the animation was dope because the animation was very like it was similar enough to Spider-Verse to be like, oh, that's dope to kind of see that stuff again, but it was also different enough to feel like its own thing, which I appreciated. I like consistently laughed through this entire movie. Like there were always points that were, and I started thinking, I'm like, is this movie as funny as I think it is? And then I checked to see like how far I was into the movie. I'm like, I'd say laughs per minute are looking pretty good. Like time spent watching compared to how many times I've laughed so far in this movie. It was a good ratio. But I know I told you I was just it could just be because I'm in an emotional place this week or what, but I had myself a good cry with this movie. I think it just hit me like super close to home with the main storyline. The girl at the forefront, she gets accepted to film school, and the whole family's weird. They're all eccentric in their own ways. Um, but the relationship between the father and the daughter, it's just like, man, there are so many conversations that took place in this movie amongst the family that just got me crying because like I thought of me and my dad. I thought about the situation of like me trying to pursue film and how like it's not that he's not supportive, but like he doesn't want me to fail. He doesn't want to see me do those things. And like I was like just fucking beside myself this morning watching this shit. I'm just like
Sometimes life call, these things call for that, man. You know what I'm
and it
saying?
was actually really funny because one of those moments that happened was also there's a moment later in the movie. First of all, the voice cast is awesome. It's Maya Rudolph, Danny McBride, Eric Andre, Abby Jacobson from Broad City. Like all these super super funny people are in this movie. But at the end, there's a scene where the dad finally sees one of his daughter's movies that he hasn't really given a chance, and he sees it while somebody else is watching it, and the other person's like, "Oh, like this is your daughter? Like, yeah, when I feel sad and shit, like I throw these videos on and they make me feel better. Like I'm glad she does this. They're pretty good." And he's watching it with this dude, and there's a scene where like she's very clearly working out her problems with her dad in this little movie she's made. And even though the movie's like funny and like all this other stuff, you see the dad start to get real like kind of sad, and he's just like he's now seeing like, oh, like this is what she thinks of me. And my dad and I had that exact same situation when I released my first short film last year. That led to us having kind of a talk about our relationship and stuff like that. And he's just like, I feel like kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. And it opened a door, for those kinds of conversations. And so when that scene happened and the dad was just like, I get it now, I see where she's coming from, and this movie's so good, and I'm just like, fucking. But exactly at that moment, I start crying. The dad's like starting to get emotional, and then like as he's starting to get like emotional, Eric Andre's character is the one watching the video, and he turns around and he goes, "Hey man, are you okay? It's just a movie." And I'm like, "Are you talking to me?" Like it felt very directed towards me. I took that personally.
Yeah.
But nah, man, it was really funny. It was really funny. I really enjoyed the story at its core. I think it had a good message. The two robots that kind of turn good and like help them out and stuff. They kind of have a good message at the end where like they see the dad start doing something different, and then they're like, he changed his programming. Like you can do that, and like I was like, okay, that's a dope little message. Like, yeah, you can change your ways and shit. I think kids will like it. I think stoners will like it. It's a chaotic movie. Like if you've ever seen a Phil Lord and Chris Miller movie, like so much of this, and I'm just like, how much? I don't even think they're like on drugs. I think they just like snort pixie sticks, like, and just are on a constant just sugar high. Like, a lot of this movie felt like the scene in 21 Jump Street. Did you see 21 Jump Street?
I think so.
There's the scene in 21 Jump Street where they take the drugs and like everything's like, there's just all the weird graphics everywhere and stuff. There's so much of that in this movie, dude. And it's just like sometimes you're just like, oh my god, it can be a lot. It can be a lot, but I think kids will love it. I enjoyed it. It's a good family movie. Sit down and have a good laugh.
Was it the second one where I think it's Jonah Hill's character hooks up with Ice Cube's daughter or something like that?
Yeah.
I definitely seen that one. That scene had me in tears.
That's so funny.
That scene there with all them guys. I was in fucking tears the first time I seen that, because I think that's when I did watch 21 Jump Street, because I didn't watch it when it originally came out. I was like, all right, that looks whack. I ain't watching that. And then I was visiting one of my buddies he lived in Arkansas, and 22 Jump Street, it just came out. And he's like, have you guys seen that? We're like, nah. He's like, we got to watch it. It's so funny. And all right, whatever. We watched it, and I was like, damn, that scene, I was like, okay, this shit is fucking funny.
They did an interview with Phil Lord and Chris Miller once, and they were like, yeah, we pretty much just do movies that sound like bad ideas, like on paper, and then they work out great. I mean, like I said, because they first worked with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum in the Jump Street movies, and then they kind of became buddies. And then they went on to do the Lego movie, and in that, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum play Superman and Green Lantern, I believe,
Yeah.
in it. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, and it very much has that sense of humor too. Just that very chaotic kind of humor that works for all ages for sure.
Mhm. Oh yeah, Lego Movie's been beloved by everybody.
Yeah, I've always dug Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They were supposed to do. There's been a few movies that they were tied to that they ended up not doing, and I was so disappointed. Like they left Solo, the Star Wars movie, um, and then Ron Howard took over there. They were supposed to do The Flash. They were the original people tied to this Flash movie that's now being directed by Andy Muschietti, who did It Chapter 1 and 2. Um, Again, kind of bummed. I would really like to see The Flash in Lord and Miller's hands. I think that would have been really cool to see, but not in this timeline. Not in this timeline. Not on
Who
this
are who are we but just fans,
fans on a fantastic Friday.
So what would you have rated that movie?
Um, Man, I'm gonna give this one an 8. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. I really hope because this was a Sony movie that they sold to Netflix to be distributed. I'm hoping that because it's a Sony movie, it will get like a home video release because I'd definitely like to purchase this movie.
Cool.
I'd definitely like to own a copy of this movie. And I'm super bummed it didn't get to come out in theaters, man. It was one of my most anticipated last year when the original title was Connected. Or actually, I think they went back and forth. I think it was the Mitchells versus the Machines, and then they renamed it Connected, and then they backtracked. They were like, fuck it, we'll do the first one." And the Furby scene. I told you, just as somebody who grew up with Furbies, like so much of that scene was so fucking funny to me. Just because even the son, the young son, is like, "What's a Furby?" Like he's got no idea what a Furby is. And then when they're all evil and shit, hilarious, hilarious. We've all been there. We've all had a Furby staring at us in the dark.
Everybody said they were evil.
Well, here we are. Somebody doubled down on that. But yeah, Mitchells versus Machines. That's on Netflix. Without Remorse is on Amazon Prime. And when you finish that up, you can watch them. And you can also watch, Invincible.
Invincible. You can watch the whole first season right now.
The whole thing. You can binge it now. You can binge it.
This episode picked up
right
where we left off last week. And I've been waiting for that because it did leave on a really lit note last
Now,
week.
I will say, obviously, if you can't read, spoilers for this one. We're going to get into some spoiler talk for this one.
Yeah, we try to leave spoilers out there of the movies, so, you still got some surprises in them, like, what I'm saying?
There's plenty watching those.
But yeah, if you've been following along, this is the last episode of the first season of Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up right when he's just saw Omni-Man fucking off Immortal. And was
That's right. Yeah, killed off Immortal, who is probably going to come back because he's immortal.
He's immortal.
He is immortal. We did see him in the operating room for a second, for a brief second.
Omni-Man!
Which is, I just feel like it's all going to start again. Like you said, it's just all going to start again.
Yep, he's just going to probably fuck off right off the planet, yelling, Omni-Man!
Now,
and we say that.
Yeah, right. Well,
because the whole first 20 minutes, Chase pointed out, of this episode is just Mark getting the fuck kicked out of him by his dad.
Yeah, and that's an understatement. We cannot even begin to stress how much Mark gets the living shit kicked out of him for half of this episode. Literally half of the episode.
Yeah. And it's all because he finds out that vulture mites are a superior type of race. I feel like we learn they like to put their foot down and really make you see their way. And basically the whole gist is Omni-Man tells his son, like, shit, we live thousands of years. Like this, all these people don't matter.
Yeah, none of this shit matters. The wife doesn't matter, and then like you said, he's got that line, like when he's just wailing on Mark, he's considering killing him. And he's just like, man, what the fuck what's 17 years? I'll just make another one. And it's just like, damn, like he was definitely
Says
going.
that he said that when he's like, "Don't you love mom?" and he's like, "Love." He's like, "I think
When
of her like a pet."
yes, dude. I was like, that's cold as fuck, dude. That is so, oh man.
But I mean, when you really break it down and you think in the grand aspect of his life, a
I mean,
human might live as long as a pet would.
I get it. It doesn't make it any less cold.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? It's just a shitty thing to say.
Yeah, and Omni-Man's way of showing Mark the way is to fucking take Chicago and make it nothing, which I took personal. I took that fucking personal.
I also took that a little personal because I watched him destroy the city, and then I realized it was Chicago after the fact. And I'm like, bro, like that ain't cool.
But I like to point out, I don't believe we have subways up there in Chicago. Not that I've ever been on, at least.
I think they do,
Maybe metro things that go underground a little bit.
but
Like, come on.
I don't know. I'm gonna hit up Priyanka and fact check some stuff. She lives in the big old city. So.
But anyway, it comes to a boiling point finally when Omni-Man's obliterating Invincible's face and cuts back to a scene when he's a kid playing baseball.
Yeah.
And realizes, I fucking love this.
Yeah.
I love this
I
son
love
of a bitch.
this little bastard.
And that's where it hit the lines because at first I was like, damn, and then I don't know, man. I went back and forth between like, damn, I mean, man, you're a fucking dick, and then I'm saying, yeah, I mean, like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think, like in our real world, with all the change that's going on, you think of people who are just like in their 50s, 60s, who have been a certain type of way for so long, who are having a hard time wrapping their minds around doing things a different way. Omni-Man has just told us that he's been around for fucking ever. You know what I mean? And
right.
so it is kind of like he's got this shit in his head for hundreds of years that, this is how it is. So now you got to fight not decades, centuries of, his mindset on this. Something I think is kind of funny. You're talking about that scene in Without Remorse where he brings the water. And it's like, if that's just poor attention to detail, somebody I watched review Invincible today pointed out the incredible attention to detail in this show. And it's definitely one of the things that makes Invincible so great is that attention to detail, like from week to week. And it answered a question I had, because in this entire episode, Omni-Man's eyes are like bloodshot. And I was like, why are his eyes bloodshot? Like, did I miss something? Well, it was when fucking Immortal tried to gouge his eyes out in the last episode. And the dude I was watching review it said that, that's just kind of one of those things that in another show, like at best, they'd remember it till the end of the episode. But to carry it over into the next episode and have the whole episode, like his eyes are, like that, it's just one of those things. Invincible is just really good at things like that.
No, they do good stuff, man. One of the ones that that stuck out to me was how when he fucks off to who knows where and flies out, when he hits our atmosphere line and shit and like that, and how like blood oxidizes and falls right off of him, and then his tear fucking froze and fell off that he was finally shedding. I think that's why he fucked off, because he's like, I can't let Mark see me cry.
Yeah, he's like, I can't. He even like when he was wailing on him and he had that little flashback, he just kind of falls to the side. He's just starts going, damn it, he's just like mad at Mark.
And then he gets hit with that line because he's like, why, you're gonna have nothing. Why, what's gonna drive you?
What are you gonna have? And then he's like,
I'll have you. And that's when he's like, fuck, because it's like, bro, because he's right. Y'all would have just been together with fucking however many wives and lives.
It's sad. I'm too emotional for this shit. It hits different. It's just like, it was a good one. But we had some mixed feelings on this episode in particular. Like I said before we started, I definitely think it's my least favorite of all of the episodes.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was just kind of underwhelming. There wasn't a whole lot of closure. You know, it just felt like the whole season was a lot of build up to a reveal that we guessed like 7 episodes ago. You know, like as soon as he did that, like you were a little more on the nose about why he did it. You were like, oh well, because they're weak. You know, you called that like a week or two ago. And then like when he first killed the Guardians, one of my things was when I found out he's a Viltrumite and all that stuff, like I'd been thinking, oh well, it's probably one of those things where Viltrumites take over worlds, and so it's just I don't like how predictable all that was. But I don't even know if it's fair to bitch about that in a show that's so unpredictable all the time. You know, I think they can get a pass for the one predictable thing.
Well,
I
and,
think
and
it
it's,
hurts more because it's in the finale. It's in the season finale. And then Mark gets the shit kicked out of him for 20 minutes, and then the whole back half is just kind of wrapping it up and then setting up season 2. And then we're done.
yeah, and I feel like and at a weird pace to me is how it felt. Like a very weird pace. Some moments, like especially like, you know, he gets the call again and he goes and flies off to space. I feel like that was just weirdly placed.
Yeah.
Obviously to show season 2, but it was just like I thought at first I was like, oh fuck, here comes Omni Man. He's on his way back, and they're gonna leave on a note like that.
Yeah.
But then it was so Seth Rogen's
Alan the alien.
yeah.
Yeah, as the character.
But like interesting, like so I obviously thought when Omni Man flew off that he was going back to Viltrumite.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
But after Seth Rogen's character talks and he's like, I don't know, one's never went rogue before. That poses a question to wonder if he really did go back there or if he really just fucked off.
Gotta make sure my place isn't burning down. There's like I'm smelling smoke or whatever.
It's never a good thing, kids. Remember, if the place is ever smoky, you can get down on the floor and feel your way out of rooms. Stop, drop, and roll, all that good stuff.
I don't know. I'm just gonna hope that somebody is grilling or burning some shit nearby. Otherwise, this is gonna be the most exciting ending to a Fantastic Friday ever.
Big fireball ending.
Anyways,
But yeah, he said I never expected one of them to go rogue before. So he said something about Viltrumites coming to Earth to claim
yeah,
So it poses that maybe Omni Man isn't gonna come, going back to Viltrumite. Maybe he is going something, and when he comes back, who knows how he's gonna come back?
yeah, who knows? And I do like, even though some of this was underwhelming, and it's weird because there are other moments in this episode that I really enjoyed, like especially in that front half. Uh, in those scenes where Mark and his dad are fighting, and the city's being destroyed, and all of these people are dying, and I'm just like, Mark is going to be traumatized for the rest of his life. Um, those were the moments where I was like, dude, my body is ready for the live action movie. Like that stuff really made me excited, especially like when he is just like wailing on him and they have that emotional like moment back and forth. The moment where he catches the building and he doesn't save the people and the building falls and shit. I'm like, dude, like live action, this would be insane. And I even saw somebody put some fan art up of John Hamm as Omni-Man, and it looked sick. And I'm just like, come on. Now, I have heard that Invincible, the movie, it is happening. A live action movie is happening from all of the same people involved with the TV show. Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Robert Kirkman. They're all involved with the movie, but they have said that it's going to be significantly different from how the show is. I don't know what that means. Basically, I was reading an interview with Robert Kirkman where he was saying that he sees the opportunity to adapt his stuff as a way to kind of plus up the comics, to take things from the comics that he did before and adapt it in a new way, maybe kind of throw some fresh spins on things, kind of add a little more emotion here, add a little bit more here. And so he said something along the lines of, I see a bunch of different ways to adapt this storyline where you'll see a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences too, which like I can dig it. I can dig it. I can dig two different takes on Invincible because not only are we going to get that live action movie, but it also just got renewed for season 2 and 3. So there's a lot more Invincible on the way.
I'm with it, man. I enjoyed it. It's a nice little thing. I'd like to get into these comics of it.
Yeah,
Check those out.
I hopped in my car today and went to the bookstore to start reading those comics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm kind of. I figured I'd grab that in Sweet Tooth while I was at it. Get ready for that.
Might as well.
But yeah, in an age of so much superhero stuff, it is kind of refreshing when you get just something that's just new. It's just kind of like a whole fresh take on the superhero thing. Like we see so much of the same shit a lot of the time. It's cool to see fresh takes on it.
Yeah.
And this is a fresh take, my man. I think it's an underrated show. I think it'll get its moment. I think once the word gets around, I noticed today a lot more people were talking about it now that it's over, and a lot of people were just talking about the season as a whole rather than getting into the episodes like we've been doing. I've seen some people getting into the episodes each week, but it's dope, man.
The season as a whole was dope, phenomenal.
Oh,
top
absolutely.
level.
Absolutely. Amazon Prime, man, they're really killing it. Honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's another one of those shows that kind of goes like that. If you sat down and watched all 8 of these, I think you would at the end be like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
But waiting a week in between episodes and then having to watch the battle, a week later.
Yeah.
Takes you out a little bit, but I feel like a good full watch through of that series, you would walk away like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a good one for sure. I'm hyped for season 2, hyped for season 3, hyped for the movie, all of it. I'm here for it. Now I got to finish up The Boys.
You need to get on it.
The other Rogan Goldberg fucked up superhero show.
It's a good one.
Which actually, bringing up The Boys, they are significantly different. And I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes into The Boys, but the character in The Boys, who's like the woman that like runs Vought Industries or whatever, kind of reminds me of Cecil a little bit in Invincible, but I don't know. I really like Cecil. I'm not really digging this other chick. She seems like an asshole. Cecil's only an asshole because he has to be an asshole. Like otherwise, Cecil seems like a pretty solid dude. Like Cecil seems like somebody you would want in your corner when the shit goes down.
Things get a little fucky, bud. You just got to keep churning those episodes of that show because it gets bananas.
Cecil is like Nick Fury in a lot of ways. I feel like those two would be homies, just in the way that they keep secrets for the betterment of everybody else.
Yeah, I like that little white room he showed Mark, and lights on, and then it's a regular room.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, what?
And then the whole thing about the stuff in the tap water, I thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, we put stuff in the tap water so that people can't see a certain frequency of light. It's like, you'd be surprised how often we use this. I was like, what's up?
Got me looking around like, damn.
Right? He's always got all those little agents that are just show up all the time. But and also something that got left off that I hope comes back in season 2 is Damien Darkblood. Last we saw him, he was put back in hell. So yeah. I'd like to see the return of Damien Darkblood.
I'm sure he'll come back at some point.
Yeah. But other than that, I think that's all we got.
That's all we got today.
I think Fridays are kind of up in the air right now. We don't know if we're going to be taking a break from Fridays for the month of May. If we might, I mean, there's a lot of dope movies coming out in May. So I don't know, maybe if we're like feeling it, maybe we'll take a week off so that we can watch a lot of those movies that come out and then hit you with some reviews. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But this weekend we should have a lot of cool stuff rolling out. We at least have Mental Health Monday available on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. You
Hell
can
yeah.
now, if you don't want to look at us while you get your minds right, you can just listen wherever you listen to podcasts. Mental Health Mondays now streaming. And then, of course, we got the merch on its way this month. We got Chase and Shep TV on its way this month. A lot of cool shit.
A lot of cool shit.
Stay tuned because it's only going to get better.
I'm hype. I'm hyped for it.
It's been a fantastic Friday.
It's been a fantastic Friday. If we don't see you before Loki, we'll see you. Well, we'll still see you a lot between now and then, but
Right. As far as
Fridays will be open.
Yeah.
Smooches deuces.